Today we are going to start with drawing a one-point perspective of this plan here. So what you're looking at is a 10 by 10 centimeter plan divided into a grid, and there's shapes here. This shape here is 1 centimeter high. This shape here is 3 centimeters high. And I'll just run you through this. It will all make sense when I do it. First thing we need to do is make a perspective grid. So we're going to make a 10 by 10 perspective grid. Now it doesn't really matter what scale you're going to use. I just by having a look, I discovered that it's good to use your 1:25 scale on your ruler. That way you get the biggest drawing on an A3 piece of paper. So the first thing we're going to do is draw a line. That's just where the grid begins, and then we're going to divide this line into 10 different spaces. Seven, 8, 9, 10. There you go. So that will be our 10 spaces that are here in the front. Then we have to decide how high the vanishing point is going to be. I like to do them quite high, about 3 meters high usually for a landscape plan, even though that's higher than your eye level. So I'll do that here as well. So 3 is there. And then what we need to do is draw lines from all of these points that I made before to the vanishing point. That's that one. We did something similar to this in level 4. I used the 1-point perspective photo overlay, and when we did this you also had to figure out the grid. We worked from the house backwards. This time we're going to go from the front backwards. So we have to decide what looks like a good square. Now the best thing to do is to look at the edges. So if I was to do a line here, this doesn't look, it looks like a square here, it doesn't look like a square there, it's too long. What we do want to do is make them as big as we can without it looking too distorted. So I'm thinking about here. The bigger we do it, the more space you're going to have in this drawing. Things are going to be less scrunched up, but you don't want to do it so big that it looks distorted. So I think this is kind of quite a good middle ground. Now, as you might remember, the way we find where the next line goes, or where all the next line go, is by going right through the corners of one of these squares. So we've got that one. You have to be quite exact with this. There you go. So that's where they intersect. And I'm just going to use this ruler. The other one is a little bit bumpy. Make sure your lines are nice and parallel. There you go, here is our perspective grid. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 by 10. Exactly the same as this, but now it is in perspective. So next thing we're going to do is draw the item that's closest to the front. Now, when you think about drawing a landscape design perspective, you might have a big tree in the front. You want to draw that first because this big tree could possibly hide a quarter of your drawing. And if you draw the background first and hide it later, it's just a waste of time. So we are going to do the same thing and draw the front here. So this cube here is 1 by 1. Easy cube. So I'm just gonna go back to this one. So as you know, it's 1 meter on this, well, 1 centimeter using 1 to 25, and we can just go up 1. It will be a perfect cube. Easy. For this line, we're going to go back to the vanishing point to draw that. There you go. This line just needs to go parallel or horizontal. There you go. And we can get rid of this. Now it looks, I think it does look a little bit long. Like it doesn't look like a perfect cube. So possibly if I was to do this again, I would take this line back just slightly, this bottom line. But it's okay, it's really fine. Okay, now let's draw number 3, because it's the next one. So I'm gonna just figure out where these points are. So they're exactly 1 away, there. This point here is over here, and then these 2 points are here and here. I'll just draw the front of the footprint. There you go. I mean, I could do the bottom as well, but we won't be able to see the bottom the back once we've drawn the rest. They're 3 high. So what we can do is just measure how big one of these spaces are in this point. So by now it will have reduced in size. So it's no longer exactly 1. It has now become 0.8. So that times 3 is 2.4. So this is how high the shape here is going to be. 2.4. Oh, I do have to make sure that these lines are nicely parallel. This one's a little bit out. It's not too bad. So they have to be on an exact right angle of the grid, of the horizontal lines of the grid. Okay. Alright, so that's the height there. Now we take this, oh, this is interesting. So our vanishing point is exactly 3 high, which means that this should actually be exactly the same height as that. But because we haven't used the perfect mathematical method to decide how far these lines go back, it's actually our shape is a little bit lower than 3 meters. But who is gonna know? Okay, there you go. I'll try to explain the next one a little bit better because I did that quite quick. So let's go and do the shape here now. So first again, decide where the footprint is. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 way and 2 this way. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2. So it starts here, and then it goes to here, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 deep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it goes to there, into there. Okay, and I'll draw the footprint quickly. There you go. And it's going to be too high. One in this point is, when I use this ruler, 2.8. So if it was one high, it would be 2.8. But it isn't. It's another 2.8. There you go. That is how big that is. Oh yes, so it should be a perfect square because it is also too wide. There you go. There's the front. Now we need to find out where these points are, where they stop. So I'm just going to draw those points of the back right up. That one too. And then where they intersect with these lines. Oh. And this one. So that is where the back is. I hope that makes sense. Could have been a little bit more precise here, but we are going to move on. Number 4 here is 2 away from the side, 3 from the front. So 1, 2 from here, and 1, 2, 3. So that point is there, and there. Yeah. Okay. It's too deep, and it is 4 high. So this is going to be quite easy. It's 4 times 2.5 centimeters, so that will be 10 centimeters high. It's nice when it works out that way. There you go. That's the front. Take that point here back to the vanishing point. And oh, let's keep it nice and parallel. There you go. That's number 4. Okay. Only one shape left to do. 5 starts all the way in the back. And then it goes to the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This here is the front. So we won't actually see most of that shape. And that's why we're doing it last. So we only see that from the front. This is also great. So it's 2 centimeters. It's 5 high. 2 times 5 is 10 centimeters. And take it back there. And then we need to go to that point here. Go right up. Because it disappears behind there. There you go. That's it. I hope you enjoyed that video. Yeah, I hope it all made sense. And we're moving on. I'm gonna also make a 2-point perspective with the same grid now. So have fun with that as well.